Have you ever noticed how, as the years pile on and certain wrinkles deepen, more and more older women seem to disappear from the neighborhood by their late 70s or so, leaving fewer who manage to push on past 80? Many people brush it off as simply the natural timeline of life. But doctors and researchers who study aging point out that there are real, avoidable reasons why the majority of older women don't continue well into their 80s, 90s, or beyond. They also emphasize that you can rewrite that story if you understand the hidden barriers holding you back and adopt a few powerful changes. Ones that many centenarian women have practiced for decades. Yes, your body does face challenges in your 70s and 80s, but so much depends on how you respond to those challenges. The good news is that living to 100 isn't the sole privilege of rare outliers. If you know which pitfalls to avoid and which habits to embrace, you can shift the odds and enjoy those extra years filled with a sense of purpose and strength. This isn't about guaranteeing you'll blow out 100 birthday candles, but about pushing through that 80-year barrier in better shape with sharper vitality and a sturdier sense of self. Chances are you've seen women in your community who once bustled around bus stops or local shops, only to vanish from view as time advanced. Maybe you've heard that so-and-so just wasn't doing well, or she went downhill after her 79th birthday. Often these downturns have less to do with a single dramatic illness and more to do with incremental decline, aches that limit mobility, a sluggish heart that makes daily walks too taxing, a loss of appetite that erodes muscle. Meanwhile, other women appear unstoppable, volunteering, nurturing gardens, or even traveling internationally well into their 90s. The difference can seem mysterious. Genetics does play a part, but a surprising amount hinges on the everyday choices you make. If you find yourself winding down physically or mentally in your late 70s, it might be your body's way of signaling that an important piece of the puzzle is missing. Understanding the typical stumbling blocks older women face can prompt you to pivot, ensuring you don't slip into that downward drift that cuts lives short. Below, you'll see how some standard health myths or complacent routines can quietly sabotage your longevity, as well as how adopting fresh habits can unleash reserves of energy you never realized you still had. The biggest threat to older women's longevity, doctors warn, is the silent crisis of muscle loss, technically called sarcopenia. Women tend to have less overall muscle mass than men to begin with, so as the decades pass and hormones shift, that muscle can vanish fast if you don't fight back. By the time you're closing in on 80, your thighs and glutes might have lost a notable chunk of their strength, leaving you vulnerable to falls or reluctant to take daily walks. Once you're less mobile, other issues creep in. Weight can accumulate in the torso, joints stiffen, and your heart and lungs see reduced benefit from normal everyday movement. Many women shrug off the idea of strength training, thinking it's for gym buffs, but mild resistance work, like lifting small hand weights, doing sit-to-stands from a chair, or using resistance bands, can dramatically preserve muscle. Even a daily 10-minute routine targeting legs and core can keep you agile, improving balance and cutting the risk of fractures if you slip. This simple habit stands among the top secrets women who reach 100 often practice. Even if they wouldn't call it exercise in the formal sense, they might refer to it as my morning stretches, a bit of toning, or housework that includes plenty of scrubbing. But it all serves the same purpose, engaging muscles so they don't wither. And when your legs hold steady, you stay upright, independent, and not forced into bed rest that kills morale and health. A second reason older women commonly fade before 80 is that they grow isolated or mentally understimulated, which subtly accelerates physical decline. You might think poor social life only hits the spirit, but in truth, emotional well-being and cognition feed directly into physical longevity. Studies show that seniors with solid social networks, whether family or friends, handle stress better and remain more active. If you stop seeing people regularly or skip community events, you're prone to spend more hours sitting at home. Loneliness can undermine appetite, leading to malnutrition, while also elevating stress hormones that weaken immune defenses. Meanwhile, your mind might get less of a workout if you're not conversing or exchanging ideas. It's common for older women to downsize their social circle after losing a spouse or watching friends pass on, But letting social life shrink to near zero can be lethal for your longevity. One of the secrets to living beyond 80 is staying connected in small but consistent ways. Whether you join a group that meets weekly, volunteer at a local charity, or maintain a weekly call with out-of-town grandchildren, that human contact does more than lift your mood. It keeps your brain engaged, wards off depression, and often motivates you to keep your body in motion. If you're going to see someone for coffee, for instance, you'll walk to the bus stop or at least step out the door, which can be a daily lifeline for circulation and muscle use. By weaving yourself into a supportive web of relationships, you feed the mental resilience that helps you push past minor aches or health dips that might otherwise slide you into an early demise. Next, consider how many older women downplay or neglect bone health until a fracture or break changes everything. Osteoporosis or osteopenia can sneak up silently, thinning your bones to the point that a minor trip cracks your hip or wrist. Such an injury can be a turning point that ends independent living for many. Women are particularly at risk once estrogen levels drop post-menopause, as estrogen normally helps maintain bone density. If you coast through your 60s and 70s with no attention to bone-building nutrients like calcium, vitamin D, and magnesium, or if you rarely do weight-bearing exercises, your bones might become porous. Then, by your late 70s, your skeleton is fragile enough that you can't trust yourself to move confidently. This fear often leads to more sitting, less muscle tone, and further weakening. The chain reaction can easily shave years off your life expectancy. The solution? Slight adjustments starting today. Consider daily walks, which stress the bones just enough to keep them strong, or mild strength moves like carrying small grocery bags or using those resistance bands. Make sure your diet includes calcium from yogurt, leafy greens, or fortified options, and get enough vitamin D, either from short bursts of sunlight or a supplement. Some older women also benefit from bone density tests to assess their risk. By addressing bone health systematically, you reduce the likelihood of those catastrophic fractures that spiral you downward. You'd be amazed how many women over 90 credit their continuous mobility to never having broken a bone. In short, if you plan to see 100, treat your bones as precious from the get-go. Another factor that bars many older women from seeing past 80 is chronic inflammation and stress that wreak havoc on multiple systems, from heart health to cognitive function. Women carry unique burdens of stress, like caring for others or worrying about family, and these can spike cortisol levels in your body. Over decades, high cortisol aggravates inflammation, disrupts sleep, and fosters conditions like hypertension or elevated blood sugar. If you're not sleeping enough, your body doesn't do its overnight healing, so your immune system runs ragged, and your heart might remain under pressure. Indeed, studies find that older women with persistent stress or anxiety can see a faster decline in muscle mass and a greater risk of cardiovascular events. Escaping this trap requires a twofold approach. Adopt relaxation or mindfulness habits like a calm breathing routine before bed or a short daily meditation, and watch for hidden triggers. Maybe you need to politely step back from toxic relationships or turn off the nightly news if it leaves you anxious. Some older women also adopt gentle yoga or Tai Chi as a combination of mild exercise and stress relief. Many of those who push beyond 80, and certainly those approaching 100, often reflect that they've learned not to hold on to worry about every little thing. They develop a perspective that allows them to do what they can each day, then release stress. This mental shift preserves hormone balance, lowers inflammation, and fosters better blood pressure control, all of which factor into a healthy longevity equation. The quest for an extended life also links to how older women handle small, day-to-day injuries or illnesses. A mild cold that lingers for weeks, or a small cut on the foot that festers, might not seem dramatic, but if your body can't bounce back quickly, you might be edging toward the frailty zone. For example, you might catch a viral bug that keeps you in bed, leading to lost muscle mass. Once you're up, you might not have the strength to resume normal routines, fueling a downward spiral. Or you might have an infection that goes untreated, quietly stressing your immune system until a bigger crisis emerges. Women who blow past 80 typically pay attention to these minor setbacks. If their energy dips, or if they see unexplained swelling, they consult a doctor or at least rest adequately while maintaining decent nutrition. This swift response helps them recover fully. On the other hand, ignoring symptoms leads to chronic exhaustion or recurring infections. So, if you notice your energy hasn't bounced back from last month's flu, or that a small sore on your leg hasn't healed, take it seriously. Often, older women accept feeling run down as normal, but it could be a clue your body is hinting at deeper issues. Regaining stamina after an illness might involve mild exercises to recondition your muscles, or ensuring extra protein for a week or two. The bottom line is that each small health glitch tests your body's resilience. Women who nurse themselves diligently and push to reclaim lost ground consistently have a better shot at outliving the typical 80-year horizon. Finally, there's the interplay of mindset and purpose, which might not sound medical but is crucial to survival past 80. Over and over, researchers find that older adults who define a sense of purpose, be it caring for a loved one, volunteering, or mastering a hobby, tend to live longer and more robustly. Meanwhile, those who drift through the day with no real direction can slip into lethargy or social withdrawal, which paves the path to faster decline. Particularly for older women who've seen children grow up and move away or parted with spouses or close friends, that sense of being needed can vanish. Combating that emptiness could mean stepping into a community role or even starting a small project at home that excites you, like crocheting for charity or writing a personal memoir. This reason to get up each morning, beyond mere habit, keeps the mind sharp and the body more active. Some older women find it in religion or spiritual practice, others in activism for local causes. The important aspect is that you feel your presence matters to someone or something. On days you might otherwise skip a walk or eat a subpar meal, remembering your goal or your loved ones who rely on you can push you to take better care of your health. Many centenarians speak passionately about how they never gave up on having something to look forward to. This intangible driver can do wonders to keep your heart pumping, your posture upright, and your spirit unbowed when life's inevitable hardships strike. Put together, these 6 secrets can help you step beyond the statistical barrier that sees so many older women fade before 80. By protecting muscle mass, nurturing social and mental engagement, safeguarding bone density, managing chronic stress and inflammation, addressing minor health issues promptly, and fueling yourself with a sense of purpose, you set the stage for a longer life. It's not a promise. No one can guarantee you'll celebrate 100 years, but these elements stack the odds in your favor, and better yet, they can add quality to whichever years you do live. You're no longer just existing, counting the days as your mobility slips away. Instead, you stand a chance to remain vital, participating in events that matter to you, traveling if you wish, or simply enjoying a morning stroll without the fear that your legs will quit. Each principle feeds the others too. For instance, staying socially connected helps buffer stress, which in turn supports a healthy appetite and muscle retention, which then keeps your bones strong as you keep moving. The synergy becomes self-sustaining, forging a robust presence that belies your chronological age. Of course, you may question whether it's too late if you're already past 70 and feeling some decline. Most geriatric experts respond that significant improvements can appear at any age if you introduce these methods step by step. If you're not used to lifting anything heavier than a purse, maybe start with small, consistent ankle or wrist weights, or do mild squats near a chair for safety. If you've felt lonely, try reconnecting with an old friend or signing up for a local seniors group to break the ice. If you're plagued by minor pains or an old knee injury, talk to a physical therapist about safe ways to rebuild. The point isn't to transform your life overnight, but to recognize that your body is malleable, even in your late 70s. The more you trust in your ability to adapt, the more results you'll see. Sure, the pace might be slower than it was at 50, but small, consistent steps can culminate in remarkable differences, and each improvement can fuel the next, building a momentum that helps you skirt that dreaded age cutoff. In a world that often sidelines older women, assuming they're done with their prime, it's empowering to realize you can still steer your own path, likely extending it beyond others' assumptions. If you adopt these secrets wholeheartedly, you might find the gap between 80 and 100 no longer looms as an unreachable horizon. Instead, you see it as a new frontier to explore, your body and spirit in alignment to keep going. Surpassing 80 with stable health doesn't only benefit you, it enriches your community and family, showing younger generations that older women can still offer wisdom, humor, and a steady presence. The transformation in your sense of identity alone can be life-giving. You're not the fragile senior people tiptoe around, but someone who has reawakened her strength, harnessed her experiences, and pressed forward. Even as new wrinkles appear or certain tasks require adjustments, your core vitality remains, shining through your posture and the sparkle in your eyes. That, truly, is how you can potentially break the so-called limit that so many older women face. Rather than letting the majority statistic define you, you define yourself by the choices you make each day. A balanced meal here, a little strength routine there, a purposeful activity you adore, a heartfelt conversation with a friend. You stack these wins quietly until they form a robust scaffold that holds you upright, well past 80, maybe even until you celebrate your 100th birthday with cake, laughter, and the knowledge that you made it happen. With all this said, it's important to remember that health is a tapestry woven of many threads. Even the most determined efforts can't prevent all forms of illness or random misfortune. But acknowledging that much of your life expectancy after 70 is in your hands is liberating. Doctors, nurses, or family can guide and support you, but they can't do the daily work for you. People who do exceed 80 or 90 with vigor often reflect that they kept going because they refused to surrender to the lazy idea that life naturally ends around 80. Instead, they listened to their bodies, took every chance to strengthen what was weakenable, heal what was fixable, and accept only what truly lay beyond their control. That mindset alone fosters resilience, which in turn ripples through your physical systems. If you're reading this and find yourself in your late 70s feeling a tad behind or uncertain, let these secrets spark hope. Tweak your meal planning to ensure enough protein, link up with a social circle, get your bones tested if you suspect osteoporosis. Keep your mind engaged with reading or puzzles, and address aches early. Before long, you might be the woman in your community who's still out walking or greeting neighbors at 85, 90, or who knows, pushing the boundary at 100. So if you've asked why many older women don't live past 80, realize that the reasons are far from mysterious. Weakening muscles from inactivity, neglected bone density, chronic stress or loneliness, ignoring minor illnesses until they become big ones. These factors conspire to shorten lifespans. But with the 6 secrets: building muscle, nurturing connections, caring for bones, moderating stress, handling small health issues promptly, and living with unwavering purpose, you can disrupt that pattern. Even if you only adopt a couple of these changes right away, you're already beating the odds. Over time, each improvement compounds, forging a new normal where your body stands a chance of continuing long past 80. That's not a fleeting fantasy. Many elder women in so-called blue zones or healthier communities exemplify it daily. They're not immortals, but they've uncovered the path by which a woman's body, if tended to in crucial ways, thrives long beyond the decade that claims most of their peers. And if they can do it, there's every reason you can too. No matter your starting point. The time to start is now. With small, unwavering steps. Take them, and you just might find yourself crossing 80, then 90. Each birthday an occasion not of fear, but of quiet celebration that your life's vitality endures.